need warm weather, man. I need the heat.
All right, so welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. We got Ryan Marsh back. We got Phil Diamond in the building today. We're gonna have a good day. I'm on baby duty, so if my mic is low, y'all know what's going on. Um, so what up, guys?
What's, what's going on, man? I forgot to ask. It's been a while since we connected here, but how is it been being a dad?
Say that again.
How's it been being a dad? I got the little one hanging around.
Sleep.
Game
That's
changer.
non-existent, but it is what it is. It's been a good feeling though.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, get those naps in when you can. It's the last time I napped is when I had a toddler.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
But
the game.
yeah, so what's been going on in the industry? I know Ryan, you've been away for a while. I know you was on vacation, which was much needed. So what's going on with y'all?
I just got back
Just
from vacation myself.
a lot of vacations going around. I will say though that yeah, I did go on vacation, but obviously having the privilege of traveling the country here and being, nice, warm, beautiful locations. When I went on this vacation, man, it felt like work, but work doesn't feel like work anyway. You know what I mean? Because you're out having a good time, you meet really cool people throughout the industry, and you're in nice areas. But like the first 4 days of vacation, man, I'm like, this is work because there was casinos, there's palm trees, there's sun, and that's like basically every conference I go to, I feel like there's casinos, palm trees, and sun. So by the time I got, by the time it felt like vacation, I was on the boat coming back, and I'm like, damn, it's time to get back to real life here.
And that is crazy because Phil lives by the water and don't be taking no cruises.
No,
I probably won't cruise again.
don't
Stuck on a
forget.
damn boat for 7 days? No, 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 no,
Uh,
no.
See, that's my problem there, man. I'm too spontaneous, man. I like to jump and do stuff at the drop of a dime. Everybody like, you won't feel like you're on a boat, but I know I'm on a boat.
No, you feel like I was on a big boat, and after a day and a half, I felt like I was on a boat still. Like it did not, a lot of stuff to do, but at the end of the day, man, after a day and a half, I had that whole ship explored. There was not much more I could do besides jump off and go swim in the ocean. That was it.
I was just thinking about taking a cruise next year, but where'd y'all go? What islands did y'all visit?
We're down the Bahamas, so we stopped. The first port of call was it Everglades? It was right down there in Florida, 45 minutes east of Orlando. Not the greatest spot to stop because there's nothing you can do there. Um, but then we did go to Coco Cay and then kicked it over to Nassau, which was not bad. And then right back up to New Jersey in the cold weather.
Yeah, that always sucks having to travel what is it, cruise into the heat and then basically having to cruise right back into the cold and get off the ship in the cold.
Yeah, crazy.
So I was thinking about going somewhere next year on a cruise, but I don't know. Like you said, I've been on a lot of cruises, so 7 days stuck on a boat, kind of get you going a little crazy after a while. But I know you do get off at certain islands. It's just still you're on a boat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwyght Mack with Mack's Moving Training. So we're gonna be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. The customer, they're uplifting their life from one location to another. They're having to call all these vendors and get all these suppliers in place so that basically they can make that transition. So their stress level is at the highest right now. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stress during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it.
What you guys been hearing anything new in the industry here? What's changing? What's clicking? What's going on? What are you guys seeing here for 2025?
Shoot, just the same for me, just the same old things with people not knowing how to close out jobs properly, trying to settle claims on the job, giving too much money back, the usual.
Yeah. I think it's hard to determine what's really going on in the industry because you'll take a guy and he's dead ass slow, but he'll tell you he's busy as hell. I mean, unfortunately, there's a guy around the corner. Everybody's been slow here in Tampa Bay, and if you're not slow, you got some government contracts or you just have lowered your pricing down to bare minimum. Um, yeah, I seen him at the gas station. I'm like, man, you guys been busy? He's like, oh man, every day all of our trucks are going out, and his office is right around the corner from mine, and I have to ride by it every day, at least 4 times. And I'm like, damn, man, maybe he got some other truck somewhere, you know. But yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. We got really busy before the storm. We had back-to-back hurricanes, so we really got slammed, bombarded with storage, and but it just kind of died off after that. A lot of people got screwed over by their insurance companies. So they don't have any money,
Mhm.
so they're selling their house at a quarter of the cost they just paid for a year ago. So people are penny pinching, man. You
Yeah,
know.
insurance is getting real. Um, but if you want to lower your camera, Phil, the audience want
Oh,
to see your face.
oh boy. Oh, ah, hey.
So no, yeah, the insurance has been getting real every year. It almost make you want to go into the insurance industry.
Someone's getting those big commission checks.
Yeah. I tell you, you have to have a heart of a bad man to deal with that. Like I guess my heart is a little bit more thoughtful than I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it depends on what type of insurance you're selling. But I was thinking about getting my real estate license, and focusing on selling real estate. But then I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of work going into being a real estate agent, and taking that test versus just being an investor into real estate.
Yeah.
Don't get me going on real estate realtors, man. I struggle. I struggle with it. The process needs to be streamlined. There's so many hands in the pot. I'm just only speaking on behalf of New York. I know a lot of states are different, but the stuff you got to do to buy a house up here is crazy. I can walk in and buy a $120,000 Cadillac Escalade EXT, walk out within 45 minutes driving that vehicle, not a penny down. But yeah, I want to go ahead and buy a $100,000 house. It's going to take me 60 days. Plus, I got to do all sorts of nonsense. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. Like, I can hide the car. If you're worried about me not paying, I can't hide the house.
Yeah.
Right? You can come pull that thing right from me, but the car, I can have that thing cross country in a matter of 4 days. Like, you are not going to find me. But too much money into it, too many. And now you got the whole thing. Like, we're looking at selling our place and had a real estate person who I love to death come in. My house is very minimal. There's not much on the walls. It is very sleek, whatever you want to call it. And they're like, yeah, I need everything off the walls. You got to paint everything white. I'm like, no, no, no. Sell my house. Sell it how it is. I don't have family pictures all over the wall. If I did, I'd take those things down. But I just feel like the whole selling aspect of the home is just not there. At least in our area, I got nobody that's truly trying to sell. It's just, hey, open up your doors, and if they want to buy, they buy. If not, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely, and like
This
you said, there's a lot of hands in the pot between getting inspectors, getting, these mortgage underwriters and all this other stuff for the buyer. You know, it,
All the
it's
fees, thousands and thousands of dollars to close. I
hmm
just don't.
Yeah. It's
Makes
kind
no
of,
sense.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I get it, but we deal with a lot of realtors on a personal level, and some of these guys, honestly, I wouldn't buy anything from them. And some of these guys, I would buy 1,000 homes from.
Yep.
Uh, we've got one particular realtor, man. She goes and helps her clients pack, and I mean, she's even helped some of her clients move, the ones that couldn't afford just to get them out of the house. Um, but I agree with you on the loopholes that you have to jump through. Uh, they dig into everything of your life. It really makes you feel uncomfortable, like, geez, man, like you said though, like you can go buy a brand new Cadillac for 100 grand, but you can't buy $100,000 house.
No.
Like,
Attorneys, you got also, I mean, I'm just the fees associated. Even to
yeah,
fill out the credit app, they want like there was like $350 just to run my credit. And it's like, you can look and see real quick. I'm 800. Like it's right
hey,
there. I gotta pay you 350 for that. But anyways, I ain't go down that I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'll piss a whole bunch of people off. But
yeah,
they are making changes in New York though, so I'm excited about that.
yeah. I know. I heard that they were making changes, especially to the commission structure of these real estate agents in New York. I forget what it was, what the change was, but it was something. Um, yeah, it was something where basically the buyer and the seller real estate agent, their contracts would be kind of different now. Like before, it was. I don't know. I don't know. I got to look more into the details with that. But nevertheless, it's too many. It's definitely too many hands in the pot when it comes to that. But I'm definitely thinking. When I was thinking about doing the investment thing into real estate, I was thinking about multi-units. Now, people are like, oh, you should get a two-family start off first, but I know that like the commercial stuff, like 6 units and up, is sometimes where it's at. I know a lot of maintenance go into it as well, but they tell you, hey, I guess look to get investments from others, and I guess some way pay them back. Obviously, you'll pay them back over 3 to 5 years. But I don't know. I think I'm still thinking about going in that direction of commercial, more or less commercial real estate than residential.
Yeah, I got one commercial and two residential, and just start small. I would say. I mean, again, I'm no big time investor by any means, but like just dabbling into it. I wanted an 8 unit, a 10 unit, a 12 unit, and all that, but I didn't have the cash flow to purchase that, or didn't even have the know-how how to manage all that. So I just started off really, really small. 1 unit here, 2 unit there, a commercial unit here, and now I'm getting a pretty good idea of what to do and what not to do.
Number three, make sure your team is in uniform, they're groomed, their hygiene is checked, because that's the worst thing you could do, especially going in a house. Customer could smell your guy from a mile away, and now, again, their mood is just thrown off. So make sure that you guys are in uniform, you're tight, you have uniform shirts, that it doesn't look like, you have a laborer that's, hired from off the street. Presentation is everything that goes towards your first impression. Number four, introduce both you and your partner when greeting the customer. Don't just go to the door by yourself, while your driver is unloading the truck, and introduce yourself. Actually have both of you there. Introduce yourself first, then introduce your partner second, and then, allow them to welcome you into their home.
mhm.
Phil, you heard your crypto went over, your Bitcoin went over 100K?
Of course, of course, of course. People don't realize, man, crypto is the future, man, and all the people that's doubted crypto all these years, you can look back every 5 years. You look back, write down a list of things that you may have invested in, and then go back 5 years and be like, oh man, I could have been pretty well off, you know. But
Yeah,
it's a gamble like anything else, man. It's fun. It's fun, man. Crypto is really
volatile.
it's volatile, man. So you never really know, man. What it's hard to read charts with crypto. You just got to follow the news,
Hmm.
you know. But a company called BlackRock is they're actually getting ready to invest quite a bit of money into XRP. So kind of off subject, but XRP is going to be a huge crypto. It's already went up a couple 100% here in the last month, but
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. I gotta look into it. I'm not usually a big investor in crypto, but definitely gotta look into it. Netflix actually shot up about 100 to 200 bucks in the last week or so. So if y'all
they're
ain't
getting
got
ready to
no,
tank.
huh?
They're getting ready to tank again because they're getting ready to go through a lawsuit.
Oh, geez. I can
Yeah,
imagine, you know, uh,
yeah. The
especially with
big,
that Mike Tyson fight.
yeah, huge
Speaking of
lawsuit.
that, I gotta cancel my Netflix. I got it just for the Tyson fight, so I gotta cancel that because I'm probably getting charged.
Oh, don't lower my shares, Ryan, because you want to
I'm out.
de-associate.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Paid that to watch Tyson and Jake Paul for like get out of here. What was I thinking? But
Yeah, and it was horrible. But the one Saudi Arabian guy said that he made pay Mike Tyson $700 million to fight Jake Paul again and go all out.
it would I still I don't get it in all the theories and all that stuff, but I never see Mike Tyson pull back so many punches before. I feel like he
Mhm.
had many opportunities to lay that dude out. But hey, at the end of the day, man, for his age, what he's doing, walk away with a quick 20 mil. I
Yeah,
do the
it
same
was a
thing.
fixed match. You know, obviously, part of the contract agreement was for him not to knock Jake Paul out. Uh,
That's crazy to me.
yeah,
I
it
just
is
don't
crazy.
understand.
It
But
would have
what's
been a
not
loss.
crazy,
It would have been a loss for Jake Paul though if he would have lost that match. You know,
He
which
would have
never
lost a
that
lot of
wasn't going to happen.
credibility in what he's trying to build right now.
Oh yeah, well you got to give it to the guy. The guy is definitely a master marketer.
Hmm.
You know, I
under,
mean, he got no fighting background really coming to a professional boxing world and draw all this attention.
yeah,
Um, you know, what is this all about? Really, the money. You know,
100%.
you know. I don't think. I believe I don't think a lot of professional athletes, just like when you watch college football compared to professional football, those college guys play a hell of a lot harder than the NFL. They're more exciting. Why? Because those guys are trying to get somewhere. The NFL, you get some guys that's that still into the game that it really matters for, but a lot of them are trying to preserve their body to get that paycheck,
Yep.
right? Because you get injured, of course, you don't really you're not fulfilling your contract out. They didn't give you 20 million, you injured, they're going to give you five minus everything else. So you're just kind of broke.
Unless it's
So,
guaranteed.
yeah, there's still stipulations on that too. And I got a relative in the league and he's kind of going through it right now. So it's like it's an eye opener, you know, making sure you stay healthy. But
Yeah, at the end of the day, as much money as they making, we only dream of making that much money and playing one game.
I know, right? You get certain players, man, is just they're making. I don't want to say too much money, but they're bringing in the money. So it's just like a sales guy. If you sell, let's say, $2 million worth of product, you're going to make decent money. If you sell $200 worth of product, you're not going to make any money. It's just like the same in the NFL. The memorabilia gets profit, the ticket sales, you're getting money off of everything. And think about it, man. When Tom Brady was here in Tampa, man, those tickets for nosebleed was $600. Nosebleed seats, and they were, I mean, every week that stadium was filled.
Hmm.
Now Brady's not there. Bucks are doing somewhat okay, but those same exact seats today are back to $150.
Crazy.
You
Tom
know,
Brady effect.
I managed to go to his last game of the regular season. when I was down there in Florida, and that was an amazing game. He just tossing it up to Mike Evans like it was nothing.
Oh yeah, those guys, man. He made a way in the NFL, man. Passion for the game, man. Guy that could have retired probably 15 years ago, still playing football.
Well, they
You
made
know.
it easy. They made it a lot easier on these athletes. Like I said, they've been watering everything down. So NBA players like LeBron James, who's still good, still putting up good numbers, but and back 20, 10, 15 years ago, he would have been retired by now. If
Oh
he,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they
my
got
my
that.
respect for these guys, especially Brady. Like I know there's either love or hate the guy, right? But for him to restructure contracts and not go after the big check, but go after the championships, to me was probably the biggest takeaway I got from Brady, besides studying the game like nobody studied the game more than that guy did. But the fact that he did not chase the check, but basically chased having that team, giving up his money to go ahead and get some players to get those wins, to me was like the ultimate teammate there.
The crazy part is he never really, a lot of his championships that he won, he didn't really have any name brand players.
No. Historically, you look at the Patriots. I mean, minus the Randy Mosses and the Gronkowskis and what have you, but they just had these. I don't want to say scrubs, right? Because they're all awesome guys, right? But made it to the NFL. But he had a bunch of scrubs, and they found a way to win. I
Mhm.
love it.
The crazy part is he did well. He did better with guys like Wes Welker, Edelman, who became an amazing guy. But when they won it originally, Edelman wasn't, like a standout guy
Yeah,
at that point. Um,
Amendola, little Danny, all these
mhm.
guys are like 5'6".
And then he goes to the Bucks and he has Mike Evans. He has Fournette at running back. Has the Fua, I think what Sua guy at D tackle. Like really has a team. And they won their championship, but I think he could have definitely won some more with that lineup. And I think he would have stayed a little bit longer if he had that whole at home issue with his wife.
Dude, talk about save the marriage or play football. My guy's like, I'm doing another season.
Did
I think the writing was on the wall with that one anyway. It had to have been.
did
Had to
y'all
have
see
been.
that roast?
Yeah. That
I thought
was
I thought it was pretty disrespectful. Like they didn't really have nothing to talk about, so they just talk bad about his wife, his ex-wife.
I mean, hey, you go into a roast, everything's on limits at that point, right? Like, you're off limit. You can say what you want. So more power to him. I think he'll look back at this in 15, 20 years and be like, man, what was I thinking? But kudos to him for putting himself out there. Like he knew what was coming. He
Mhm.
knew that shit was coming.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I know you've been getting around to conferences. I know we've been talking about sports, everybody, but I know you've been getting around to conferences and stuff like that. Any new regulations you think coming to the industry that's looking like something that's going to make an impact? I know a lot of them times they just like to talk about the same old things.
Yeah, no, most conferences, unfortunately, it's the same. Your military update, which there has been no update since the past year or so. I've been really out on the trail. You got the insurance pieces in New Jersey, the 1.5 mil per truck, which is crazy. Other than that, I mean, nothing that's been eye-opening to me, I would say, when
1.5
it comes to
million
regulation.
per truck. What do you mean?
Was it the base liability? I believe you have to carry in New Jersey now on a truck. They're still fighting this thing like crazy, but they're upping it $500,000, which in reality is going to cost quite a few $1,000s per truck. So big
Trying to think.
expense
Oh,
to those
so
folks.
how New York has a 750 liability, New Jersey needs 1.5.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's big. That's a big jump.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's if I don't know if California started that or whatever, but New Jersey's trying to follow another state with that piece. So I don't pay too much attention. Obviously, I'm in New York. Obviously, we have a lot of customers in New Jersey though, so
Yeah.
definitely that's going to be something to work with. Just the rogue movers, man. That's the one thing that keeps
Mhm.
getting pulled up on base everywhere we go. Everybody talking about the rogue movers.
Yeah, no, and it's been scary
Same
because
song and dance.
it's been scary because like when I was last in the business as well, and I was leasing my vehicles through Penske, they wanted 1 million for liability coverage. And then because you need to have super full coverage insurance, it's not just regular full coverage insurance, you need that super stuff. Because you were leasing the vehicles and they're like, if anything happens, we want to make sure that they're covered. Um, it made the policy super expensive. I went from 1 year being 24,000 with like 2, 3 trucks to when I had 4 trucks, I'm like looking at almost 67. I'm like, this don't make no sense.
Yeah. Insurance.
DOT regulations are just, I think, a little bit ridiculous for interstate moving. We're in Florida here, man. It's not so regulated like New York and things of that nature.
They trying
Uh,
to. It's gonna be very hard.
yeah, they passed a law this past year, and they've done nothing with it, man. You got it's different when you're doing moves out here and you're just doing them and you're just saying, hey, my name is John the Mover. This is the service I provide, yada, yada, yada. But I think it should be a little different when you start putting licensed and insured, right? And I see it all the time in like these local groups. And, I don't want to start saying anything. I don't want somebody going to leave my company bad reviews because you know how people do. But I see it all the time, and I'm like, I'll go look and be like, they haven't even registered for an EIN. So how are you even running a business? Like, how do you call that a business, right? I mean, and I try not to get too tangled up with it, but these folks, man, they're charging just as much as some of us guys are.
Yeah, no, I try to I seen in one of the Facebook groups where nobody really commented on the guy's post, but he was just flexing his company, he had the trucks and everything, but then his door tag just said his company name. It didn't have his USDOT number on it, it didn't have no nothing on it. And I'm just like, dude, you need your licenses on your truck, right? He never responded, but people are so quick to advertise their company. It's crazy because even in New York, you have on your Facebook page or anything that you market, you need to have your local license and some other credentials on those marketing posts or those marketing materials. And I didn't even notice that before, but I'm like, geez, they're really strict. Like, they want to make sure that and people know that you're not just a fly-by-night moving company.
And I'm by no means defending those folks at all, but you look at how a lot of really super successful moving companies started, right? They probably had the rental truck, they probably had their, SUV pulling a trailer. They just didn't know, right? And there's so many different avenues depending on which state, which county, what have you. I just look at when I went into business with the sub shop, right? I did my due diligence. At least I thought I did. I spent weeks and weeks and actually months, I should say. And what licenses do I need? How do I contact the house? What do I need to do to basically open up my doors and be 100% compliant? And I was missing a couple things, right? Even down to the night before we were supposed to open the doors. I'm like, what do you mean I need this? And what do you mean I need that? And I had to like scramble. So I can see some of these guys like just not knowing. But my thing is if you don't get it course corrected quickly and become a business rather than become a hobby or a side hustle, that's where I take some serious issue to it because I speak with moving company owners every single day, guys, and a lot of these guys they just don't know. They really don't know. Now, you got to put it back on them, right? You're going to do something, you got to know what you're doing. But I think a lot of these guys, get the bad rap, but they just don't know. Like they're trying to make some money, they're trying to provide for their family, and they're just not there yet. But
Yeah. No, it
up to
makes
them to
sense.
do that.
Go ahead, Phil.
So here in Florida, like we have to, I'm sure you guys got an area too where you guys have to register like any company. Here it's called Sunbiz.
Hmm.
So so before, like when we started the company, we didn't have a truck, so we couldn't even we would have had to have a bond during that time because we didn't have a truck, right? During that time, I didn't have the money for a bond. So I just kind of ran under the radar, but I would not tell anybody I was licensed and insured. I would be like, if they didn't ask, I didn't say anything. If something got damaged, I just paid for it, right?
Yep.
And then I was on every single move. I mean, every lad that wasn't a time that a move went on that I wasn't on, so nothing really got damaged, But once I did register, once we registered through Sunbiz, I think it was maybe a month or two later, the Department of Agriculture called. Hey, are you guys going to register with the Department of Agriculture? So I'm thinking these guys are getting these calls, but like you said though, Ryan, a lot of guys did start, like myself, started up from nothing, bare minimum, no truck, rental truck, whatever. Getting into this business is not the hardest. Growing this business is the hardest. If you're trying to step outside of like one truck or two truck, three truck, whatever, that's where you start running into a little bit of the complications you start adding employees. Adding employees, it complicates it even more. You know, I always think back, hey man, I remember back when I had one truck and we was running the business out of our house. I didn't realize how simple life was then.
Yeah.
It was very simple. I mean, the max I was paying, I was already paying for internet at the house, so what was I really paying at that point?
Hmm.
But it's not a very hard business for someone to say, you know what, I'm a mover today. You know, handyman. We're starting to see now. I mean, even handymen are putting their movers. Handymen. Oh, we're movers. Like, okay, you know.
Yeah, we had similar, very similar to what Ryan was saying. We we try to put everything in place. Like we got the USDOT number, we got the MC number, we got the insurance. I'm like, all right, cool. At first we did start kind of underneath the radar, but not underneath the radar. Like we were moving helpers. So we actually did like primarily the labor only. And then, we decided we wanted to go full service. But when we got out all of that information or so like that, we were kind of running straight, like we were running good for at least 2 years. And then somebody mentioned to me, hey, you don't have your local license, just like a friend in passing. And I'm like, what do you mean? I got all my licenses in place. What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, no, you got to have your New York State license. That's a thing? So, so I went down to New York State. I was like, you know what, just in case, so that they don't ever just get me because I didn't inquire about it. And they was like, yeah, you need to get your DOT license and do a tariff. I'm like, tariff? What's that? You know, you know. So I was like, all right. And then I came up on that fitness part of New York State's requirement, stating that, oh yeah, you need to have somebody in your company that at least worked for a moving company for 2 years. Well, I have 2 years experience working for my own company. Oh no, that won't count. You have to have had worked for another licensed moving company in New York State for 2 years.
Oh
Well,
wow.
how's that supposed to happen? I'm already 2 years in. I'm not about to go work for somebody else. That's just not
Right.
gonna happen. So they was like, yeah, this is an unprecedented situation. We what we could possibly do, because you have your MC, is you will probably have to still do over the road moves for another year, and if everything stays in good standard, we'll potentially sit you down. I was like, that was the most annoying thing. So I can go across state lines, mess somebody's stuff up, not be held as much as liable. In a sense, I would be held liable versus just driving 5 minutes down the road. So they made it really, really difficult. But similar to what Sean actually mentioned, what are your thoughts on offering financing for customers? I know Phil, you were doing something like that a while ago. I don't know if you're still doing it.
Hmm. Yeah, somewhat. You know, you start getting those moves that you don't really, I guess it just depends on the type of moves that you're trying to target, right? You're going to get that kind of customer. It's going to be a rushing I don't like the jobs where it's a rushing situation where throw the stuff in the truck and go. So that's the kind of situations that we ran into. The clients wasn't really wanting the guys to do their jobs. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And we all know when someone's not able to do their jobs 100%, things start happening.
Hmm.
doing a job, from an 8 hour job, and some of these guys are working. Some of these guys are doing 3 or 4 jobs. They're working their guys 3 or 4 jobs out of one truck, man. 16-hour jobs. You know what I mean? Like, man, and you're complaining something got damaged.
Yeah. I wonder why it got damaged. These guys are just whoop.
Yeah, like we're human. And I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. We used to do it. I don't want to just point the finger. I did it, and we've made a couple of accidents where the guys got their client wasn't packed. They told us they were packed the day before. We followed our process here at the office, like, hey, you guys packed? Oh yeah, we're all packed up. And then you get there. Oh well, I didn't want to say that because I didn't think you guys were gonna come. Like people do that. But
Yeah.
we ran into an issue with the back to the financing. We signed up a few customers, not a lot, but they unfortunately they have to put that initial deposit down as well, far as on that finance company. So, and then the interest, you know.
So we were initially going to be working with Buttermove when it came to financing, and they were pretty much doing no interest charges for the financing aspect of things.
For like 90 days or something like that, right?
Um, what was it? I think it was 90 to 90, yeah, approximately 90 days, I believe. And they would take down 25% up front,
Hmm.
and then which obviously would go to you immediately, and then after the move you would get paid from them, so you don't have to worry about chasing the customer down, and they would deal with retrieving payment from the customer. So
Yeah.
So they shortened that to 30 days
oh
because
gee.
it's yeah. Well, the company that I can't remember the name of the company that we still have it on our website, but they were 60 days and then they shortened it to 30 days. You know, of course, they're trying to a lot of when someone having to go through that process, it's a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Bad credit. So when you got bad credit, what happens? They try to get their money back out of you as quickly as they can.
Mm-hmm.
If if you have your company has bad credit or you have bad credit, and just say you take out a loan, a friend of mine took out a loan. It was called a capital loan. Man, they started taking the money back out the next day. I'm like, what in the world, man? Like, I'm like, it was like 300 and something bucks a day for 5 days, 5 days a week. So it was kind of like, I'm assuming the finance company, like, you know what, we need to hurry up and get our money.
Yeah, we used to take hard money loans as well, and it's to the point where it's so ridiculous they start charging you weekly for it. And let's say you took out, let's say 30,000, and they say, oh yeah, we're going to charge you break $30,000 over 52 weeks. So it'll be less, but we're going to charge you every week. And you're like, well, damn, the whole purpose of me getting this was for me to use it to stay afloat. But if I got to start paying you back right away, like I feel like I'm going to run out of money faster than anything else.
Oh yeah, it's that's the problem. That's a huge problem. Yeah,
I like the financing aspect. I just feel like it hasn't been around that long in the industry. It's just kind of one of them things where it just to me hasn't caught on that well and it hasn't been sold well enough. But there's a particular company that I work with. Um, I don't want to say their name on here, but they do a tremendous job of financing moves. And really, all the liability is put on the finance company, not the moving company. So, regardless if that customer doesn't pay, 100% of that money is back in the mover's hands within 24 hours or whatever that job was. And to me, I saw it as, a way to not necessarily upsell, but just to get more per job. So if a customer only had the money to make the move, but they wanted a full pack, didn't have the, 100% the cash right away because they haven't closed on a
message.
home or whatever the case was, like, shoot, why would you not turn a $2,000 move into 3,500 bucks, adding a full pack or something like that? So to me, it was just another tool in the bag where if someone talked about it being expensive, well, hey, you can finance this over 6 months, 1 year, 3 months. It was one more tool in the bag for me to
You kind of
basically
offering
get that
it.
move because our competitors weren't offering that, and there was no risk to the company whatsoever at all.
Yeah,
At least the company was WiseTech is who I'd recommend. I'm sure there's many, many other companies out there that do this, but I found they had the best rates for the consumer, and they were the easiest to work with when it came from basic business to business. So moving company to, WiseTech organization.
Yep,
Little plug to WiseTech there.
Sean just
I
mentioned
wonder,
it in the comments.
What's
I wonder
that?
how, I wonder how they came across to the. I think that was a little bit of our problem too, of just not promoting it well enough. You know what I mean? And thinking back about it, just think it wasn't promoted well enough, or not making people feel like, oh, well, do you want to finance this move? Kind of like, damn, man,
So
you
it
think
all
I can't
comes down,
afford?
it all comes down to how you script it, you know.
All in how you pitch it to me is I think if you just look there and hey, do you want to finance the move? People are thinking, oh my gosh, I got to finance, I got to like, oh, I got to take another loan out. But traditionally or typically, if they're buying a home, selling a home, like a lot of these people, at least I dealt with in the Northeast, and maybe you deal with it, Dwight and Phil as well, like they have the money. They just don't have access till they actually close on the home, and it takes that 24 to 48 hours to basically ship the money. So, why the heck not? Why not get a full service move for 5K? And, some of these people, and it's crazy, they might have a couple grand in their account. But once
So,
they close on that home, they made 80, 90, 100K on that house because they've been in it for 15, 20 years. Like,
mhm.
the bag is coming. They just don't have access to the bag right away. So why would you not go ahead and finance that, particularly at 0%, especially if, hey, you're going to get your money in 60 days or less? Just make that one lump sum payment. Or if you do want to string it out over 6 months or a year, go ahead. But I think it's all in how your reps are positioning that. And again, I was huge into providing options. So we never just gave one quote. We always gave three quotes. And one of those quotes would have that financing piece into it. So for
Yeah,
me, it
and
was
that
just another tool, and it won a lot of
When you
moves.
yeah, that's it. That's go
go
ahead.
ahead, Dwight. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's definitely big. And Sean was mentioning something about having trouble marketing it. And it's I feel like you just gotta work it into your flow of your thing, your sales funnel. Whether you have it on your website, so when people are going to your website, normally they're just seeing it pop up. Or you have it on any of your flyers if you're doing offline stuff, or you have it on your postcards somewhere on your postcards that's going out. Um and then, as like Ryan mentioned, when you go through your whole sales script or idea, well, Ryan didn't mention the sales script, but when you go through your whole sales script and everything, you get to the bottom end and you're talking about pricing, initially go with your original pricing. And then basically, if you hear of any objections about pricing being too high or whatever the case is, then I would say let them know about the alternative options. I wouldn't necessarily jump to the three options at once because you don't overwhelm a customer. But as soon as they feel comfortable and you're like, okay, well, hey, I see that this $2,000 move they want to think about, or they want to, get more pricing on the competitors. Then that's when you hit them with, hey, we have a great option for you. We actually allow customers to finance their move interest free. You just pay 25% down and you could pay the rest over 2 months, you know. And at that point, if they still need to think about it, then maybe they're just not the right customer.
Yeah, it's not going to work for all, right? I mean, I look at many of the customers that we'd have like, and we didn't get out of bed for like less than 1,200 bucks a day at one point, but there was a point in time we were doing 2 hour minimums, 3 hour minimums, and all that just to try to get something rolling. But when you got a customer that's like can't afford $400 or $500 or $600 for a move, probably not the customer you want to be dealing with anyway, at least for us, I would say. But for me, it was for that almost like the Ryan Marshes of the world, right? Where like I do want a full service move. I don't have the 5,500 or $6,000 or even 8K upfront to pay you right now because I've got a mix of other things. I'm trying to buy a home. I'm closing on another. I can't really take money out of a particular account because I'm still in the process of closing. So I'd be the perfect finance candidate. And then once I did close and I got that bag, yeah, I'm going to go on there and make that payment. But
It goes back to the difficulties of buying a house.
yeah, yeah.
You went right back to that. Oh, I can't take that money out because they're watching me.
Yeah, I gotta pause. Like, I was trying to buy a house, but at the same time, like, shoot, my car just shit the bed. I gotta buy a car, but I gotta wait to buy a car until I close on the house. So, what am I gonna do for 60 days while I'm waiting to close on this house? I'm gonna be walking to the bus stop.
Right.
But I
You
think
know,
also set minimums on that too, as the company of, I think it's another way a great way to kind of not get upsell, but hey, if you got a 3K minimum, your move price is 2K. you can throw in $1,000 worth of packing to qualify that customer. So again, your average contract is going up. You're doing more with less, and the burden of collecting payment from the customer is not in your hands at this point. You know you're getting paid regardless in 24 hours.
One of the cool
So I
things.
tell Sean,
Go ahead, go
do your
ahead.
due diligence, and I'd be all over it. But it's just
And
again, how are you going to put this into your sales process, your sales script or pitch or whatever you want to call it? I think it really comes down to how do you spread that love out there without just talking about financing?
hmm Now, I was gonna say, I like that. Something like one of the older CRMs that I've seen out there, or something like that. I haven't really seen too much about Supermove, but I've t with talking to you and stuff like that, seeing hearing all the cool features. But one of the older CRMs had capacity by day, where you could put the capacity by day based on how much money you're expecting to make that day, or you estimate to make that day. So you're like, oh, hey, I want to make $3,000 or $4,000 today, and as you are getting closer and closer to that marker, it's showing your capacity filling up. And I thought that was pretty cool. It was a pretty random thought, but
No,
um,
I love that. We actually we do that along with just the dollar capacity, sort of say, or daily goals or what have you, sure. We also have your true capacity based on how many trucks, how many crew leads, how many this, and also even a step further, because if you only have, and again, I was from a van line, right? So we only had two qualified van line drivers. So even our capacity counter was smart enough to know that, hey, when our two qualified van line drivers were already booked on jobs that week or for multiple weeks, that I could not book another United Van Lines job because we didn't have a qualified driver. So we actually were able to dial in a little bit deeper. But one thing we did with our company, though, and I feel like a lot of people get hung up on this, is, and you mentioned it, Dwight, is the daily dollar amount. So we had more or less kind of a weekly, right? Or monthly. It didn't matter to me if my goal was $100,000 that week, we could do $10,000 jobs, or we could do $100,000 job. I didn't care how it came from or how we got it. To me, it was, did we hit the goal? Because I found as when we were doing kind of that daily piece, or even that weekly piece, we had a bunch of sales guys just trying to slam a bunch of stuff into operations, booking these little piddly jobs, overlooking some of the large, more profitable jobs, just to try to hit that daily goal. So for me, it was like, hey, if the goal is 100K this week, it can be 2 moves or it can be 20 moves, which is easier for the team.
yeah, it
So
is. It is scary just even thinking about that. If a company is averaging $100,000 a week and just bookings, because that's what 400,000 a month.
yeah.
What is that?
But
Four.
that was, I mean, that was May, June, July, and August for us, and even September. And then
Yeah,
you
that's
spin out.
about
But again, you got to
4.8
figure we
million
we
a
were
year.
really what's that?
That's about 4.8 million a year approximately.
Yeah, you basically spot on. We were just shy of 5 mil.
Yeah, so that's insane. Like, I know companies are making more than that, and it's just like, can you
And how
just
many
imagine?
trucks? I think the most impressive part, how many trucks to do 5 mil a year?
Mm-hmm.
What's the average in the moving industry? Again, now we're talking just household, but typically 12 trucks get you 3 mil,
Yeah, I
which to
seen
me
it
is crazy. That's a lot of trucks
a
to
while
get
ago.
yeah,
three
I
million
man.
seen
done.
a
I
while
know,
ago. I
right?
seen this company's capacity on like they showed a screenshot of their dispatch dashboard. And I don't know if they had like nine or way more than nine trucks or whatever the case is. It probably was. And they showed like how crazy busy that schedule was, with how many guys they had out in a single day or whatever the case is. I was like, wow, like it's a lot, and I think the most I've ever had was like 25 guys. But just to have all those guys out and managing every site, oh, sometimes they got two jobs in a day, so you got to make sure that they're on time to that second job. It's you have to have an in-office team managing at that
That's
level.
that's where I get, oftentimes you hear, not often, most times you hear people, "Oh, I want to grow and I want to scale. I want more trucks. I want more crew members." And to me, and I've said this to Dwight a million times, like more trucks, more crew is more headaches. How do you do more with less? Right. So we were 12 trucks doing 3 mil. And eventually by the time I left in November 2022, down to 6 trucks doing closer to that 5 mil. So what would you rather have? Deal with 12
Right.
trucks, multiple crews, multiple guys, claims, this, that, or whatever, or dial it down and just do super, super profitable work. And to
Mhm.
me, that's where the commercial side and being well diversified was truly what was able to drive us to the path of profitability.
Yeah, I got away from doing 2 hour minimums and focused more on like 3 hour minimums. And I could have went to the
So
four hour
we had
minimum,
four.
but I felt like, there are companies like, the big name companies down in the Albany area, they were already doing 4 hour minimums. So doing a 4 hour minimum basically left you to do approximately two bedroom moves and up. You still had those customers that loved your service and was willing to pay just for you to move a one bedroom or a studio for 3 hours, or even, the ones that have you come and move like two, three items. Even though they knew you had a 3 hour minimum, it was reasonable for them to just say, "Oh, you know what? I'll go with you," versus, going with a person that's just going to have a 4 hour minimum. So I feel like you was on both sides of the spectrum where you could do big jobs, but you could still keep you guys busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the 2 hour minis, and then and that's just, again, not knowing I was probably 2 years in the business. I didn't realize that we were paying our guys a 4 hour minimum. So they're coming in doing 2 hours worth of work, going home. Yeah, I'm paying them for 4 hours. So then you
Mm,
start looking at your margins on that particular work, and you're like, damn, we're not making anything. I'm paying the guys additional 2 hours a piece. We got a 2 hour minimum. I got to pay a minimum 4 hours. That's where we're like, shit, we're going right 4 hour mini. So we're 4 hour in the summer or winter, 6 hour in the summertime, and we did. We lost a lot of work over that. But is that
mm,
truly the work that you want to have? Do you want to tie up a truck and two guys to move four pieces of furniture? We
mhm.
didn't. But again, we were a different breed though. So it's hard to, what we were versus what we became was two different horses. Because when I first started, we're scraping up everything we can get our hands on. It did not, we are just trying to fill the trucks,
Yep.
keep the guys working, right? But then it was like, man, we're doing all this work, it ain't making any money. We gotta make a change.
Now, do you charge flat rate for your packing services, or are you still doing hourly?
Hourly. And it
Okay.
just depends. It just depends on um, if it's going like 4 or 5 hours. Let's say if it's going down to Miami, we flat rate the entire job.
Oh no, I'm
Um,
talking about like just packing itself. So,
oh no, we bill by the hour for the packing. But like I say, if it is a job that is going long distance, if it's packing included, we just bundle it all together. But
okay.
hourly, unfortunately, man, we try to get into flat rating, man, and you tell even though the price is going to be the price at the end of the day, and you can try to explain it. Everyone around here just bills by the hour. They keep it very basic, and when you add something different to it, they just go haywire. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to pay 5 grand for you. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to end up paying it anyway. Oh, we're going to help out, and we're going to get it done faster. And of course, that don't happen.
Mhm.
But I think going back to that finance, I think we're going to go back to that pitch with finance because I thought of something that would be pretty creative and thought would be pretty good. Because you kind of get a sense sometimes when you have that client that is just not affordable to them. So a company like ours, I mean, we're a 5-star company. I think we only have maybe one or two bad reviews, maybe three or four out of thousands. And so they're calling us for a reason. They're not calling us because they think we're the cheapest. They're calling us because they don't want to be dealing with the company over here that's got 4 or 5 bad reviews because they're having billing issues. Or this company over here that's breaking things up, yada, yada, yada. So I think when we get that, when you get that initial call, boom, and you send that estimate out and the customer goes completely blank, a lot of times it's because of what? The money, right? So I think a follow-up email after that, boom, saying, hey, are you interested in, something? Are you interested in financing? I hate to go back to that, but that's kind of what my mind has kind of been thinking about. Like, man, we never really pushed that. But now that, money's tight for a lot right now, man, and charging someone $2,000 or $3,000 to move their, 2, 3 bedroom home 10 miles down the road, man, is, my grandfather was asking me, he's like, I just don't understand how you're making money moving furniture. Now they're in the country, country. When we moved here, Tim moved us and he took 37 loads in a pickup truck, right? So he couldn't quite understand it. He's like, man, you seem like you're doing pretty good moving furniture. Like that's people actually pay for this? Like, yeah. So I gave him some example. He's like, are you serious? Like it costs, I said, if you're moving from Florida to Georgia with a full truck, you're gonna pay no packing about nine to $10,000.
Wow.
Moving from, you know what I mean? From here, 10-hour drive.
Wow. What was it? From Long Island to
Hey,
Florida for
hey,
5,000.
each
I
his
think,
own. I had a
some of
I
this
had a
kind of came.
I had a client tell me, and I think it was the first. It's been a while back. He told me, well, I think I said this before. Steve, well, Steve did this move for $1,000, and I looked at the guy and I said, well, Steve is out of business, sir. Steve must didn't like his business too well. And when I take this is a 4-bedroom pack and move, and the guy showed me he did it for it was like 1,100, so he lied about 1,000. I said, dude, you can't even move this for $1,000. I mean, oh, well, you and two other helpers, and I'm like, sir, I'm not moving shit.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Steve, I said, well, Steve ass is out of business, unfortunately. Why is Steve out of business? Because Steve ass ran his damn company in the ground.
Yeah, I
Steve didn't
think,
know his numbers.
yeah, I think,
Right? But people think that that you should. They don't know what it costs. I mean, before getting in this moving industry, man, I didn't know. Not really thinking about it. Like, okay, how much could it cost to move? You know, you think about that thousands, shit, thousands of dollars, man. Like, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, people are not they're receiving a service, so they're not actually getting anything. So it's kind of hard to think like, damn, I just had my flooring done for $5,500. Look how beautiful it looks. $5,500 to move. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's a major, and I've been saying this for a long time. The biggest issue I see within this industry is not all, but most movers don't know their numbers. They don't know what it costs them to operate for three people in a truck per hour. What is their true cost on that? And I've got millions, not millions, but hundreds of examples of. I just spoke with a company, what, a month ago, and I think I mentioned this to Dwight, is going over rates because his schedule's full. Trucks are always out, but they have zero cash and they didn't understand why. So after breaking it down a little bit, it was how they were charging, the structure of how they were charging. They were making money for the first 4 hours. Not a lot, but they were making money. Every hour after the fourth hour, they were losing $2.50 per hour of that job
Mm.
yeah.
based on their pricing structure. He had no idea,
Ryan, you just needed to
no clue.
get them in front of my spreadsheet. My spreadsheet would have told them that right off the rip. You know?
You got to get that spreadsheet out there.
Uh-huh.
We
So
were there. We were there at a point. That same scenario, couldn't figure it out. Me
Yeah.
taking money from other businesses that I own and putting into the moving company. I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on now. Like, something's got to change here. Like,
You're running a
we,
charity.
I know, right? Like, what are we doing here? Like, and this is the most stressful business that I ever got. Like, shit.
hmm
And we're not, and I'm taking money from over here and putting it over here. Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So Sean said something about he said most I've done interstate was Cambridge, Mass to Savannah, Georgia for $6,600. But it was a one bedroom apartment. I think he used like a small truck or so. Um, that's not bad. Um,
That's to me, that's renting a one way and flying back, unless he's got some backhaul to go back with.
Yeah.
so I created a while back ago, I created a long distance um what do you call it? Chart. So based on you know how they got those what do you call it? Those rate charts that tell you if you know how many pounds, how many miles.
Yep.
So I created something like that. So basically people that wanted to quote long distance move can quote it very, very easily, you know, because one guy I knew that works in Long Island, he was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of got to quote all these jobs because my sales reps don't know what all goes into quoting long distance." And I'm like, "But you got to make it duplicatable because you can't be there all the time to make sure your these quotes are going to be correct." And what if you're losing money? Because you're doing it off the top of your head. You're saying, "Oh well, it's going to cost me this in fuel. It's going to cost me this to pay the guys," and you're winging all of this, and how tedious that is to have to do
Ooh,
that
butterflies.
all the time. Huh?
Most movers. Ooh, butterfly. What was I thinking?
Right. So the chart that I created, it was like basically you would say, oh well, if this customer has 16,000 pounds going 500 miles, you would basically just go down the chart and you see 16,000 miles, 500 miles. Okay, it's going to be about $19.75 per, or maybe not 19, but probably like $12 per mile, per pound. So $12 per pound, you do that $12 math, the math will tell you, oh yeah, you're going to charge this customer about $7,000, $8,000 to go that far. And it basically you knew you were profitable because basically it ended up having your hotel rates, your guys' labor rate in there, and whatever else that you need to factor into that whole $12 per mile. So I think if people can create something like that, I think it would simplify the whole process for their sales team, and they know that they're profitable. They can adjust the rates as they need to over time. But I don't know, Phil, that sounds depending on what, well, you're coming from the east side of Florida going to Georgia. So you're kind of like right there, but still, I guess, I don't know. 9,000 seemed kind of steep. You said you had a four-bedroom.
Yeah, 8,000, 9,000 pounds for a truck.
Was that, oh, that was a full truck. That wasn't two trucks. That was just all in one truck.
One truck. 9K.
Mm.
They're going 9 hours. That's just something that I just got off the top of my head, but yeah, that
thousand
was a
dollars an
short.
hour.
Hey man, and that was just a scenario I was giving my grandfather though.
Hmm.
But people, now if you're piggyback, if you're running a tractor trailer now, you can do it a lot cheaper than that.
Oh yeah.
But you got to also take in consideration of this. A lot of people fail at okay, you're going to have a driver gone, maybe a helper gone, and a truck gone. How much money could that truck have made if it would have stayed local? Because breaking down the numbers sometimes from local to long distance, and we run 98% locals. And I look at the numbers on a long distance margin and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're getting bigger ticket items, but look at all the stuff you got to deal with. You know what I mean? Like you got to have more insurance. You got to pay taxes on this road. You might get audited. You got this going on. Truck might break down, 20 hours away. Then you got a guy, got a hotel stays. You got all this stuff. And a lot of times you could have done that shit and stayed at the house, right?
Yep.
I mean, when you really break it down, so I've always been kind of, I mean, and I know they're making money. Look at Van Lines and all these guys. They're making money, millions of dollars.
Mhm.
But and I guess a guy told me you can't do it out of box trucks. You don't need to be running a box truck from Florida to California,
Yeah,
right?
you ain't
It's
making
just,
money doing that.
you're not making any money, man. You might as well just fly some guys back and forth. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even having a backhaul coming back. About the time that truck get back, that truck could have made quadruple that and maybe put 50 miles on the truck.
Yeah, your truck's going for 2 weeks at
Oh
that
yeah,
point, which is
exactly.
crazy. So we had about a 550-mile radius that we would basically self-haul interstate jobs. We knew we were profitable at that point, but I know there's pros and cons of the van lines. I know a lot of people say they're anti-van line, some say they're pro, but for me on interstate work, I had the ability to book a move to and from anywhere in the country. And a lot of times I didn't have to touch it because I did have that outreach of that United Van Line. So to me, it was a major, if it was in our sweet spot, we're going to haul it, we're going to take care of it. Plus, I had the ability to go into D-Ton to find something coming back or working with multiple agents to assist them with jobs as well. But yeah, anything outside that radius, I just gave that to the van line. That was open to haul. See ya, goodbye.
Yeah.
Even sometimes that
So
was an issue, but
with the I think it's ABS trailers. They had a program before where basically if a customer was going long distance, if you didn't want to make that trip and you wanted to still be paid for it, you could do the load up. they would do the transporting of the stuff, and then basically you can contract to find labor at the other end. So they were partnered with moving staffers, but basically you would get the kickback. So they would tell you, "Oh, okay, so for labor and the transport of the stuff, we're going to charge you about $1,000." And you would just mark that up and say, "Hey, customer, I'm going to need $1,500 for the transport of your stuff." And it'll include the labor. So $1,500 for that plus my service, you're looking at about $2,000 all said and done, or whatever the case is. And really, from there, you only made $1,000, but you're hands off. Everything is completely liabilities on that moving company on the other end. You don't cover anything in transit per se. So
I tell you, if I was an independent mover and I was doing, even Phil's gave 90+% local moves, I don't know how many opportunities you get, Phil, for longer interstate jobs where you're like, man, I ain't doing this because there's no money into it. So what do? Do you reach out to your fellow independents and say, hey, I got this job, and it gets a little potentially can get sticky. How fast do they react to the customer and what percentage you getting back? Like I'd be all over. National Van Lines has a really cool program for anybody in the country. It doesn't cost you a freaking penny, but for example, if somebody called into my company and said, "Hey, I'm going from here to California," I'm like, "Nah, I ain't running that, right? I ain't running 5,000 pounds from here to Cali, whatever the case is." I shoot them over to the next program of National Van Lines. They quote it, they secure the move, they book it, they do everything. I get 10% of line haul. Plus, I get first right of refusal if there is any packing on that job. So instead of turning it down or giving it away or what have you, you can still handle that move. You're capturing, and I average what average interstate job right now is like what $7,700. I want to say was the last industry average that I was able to see and get a couple months ago. But $770 to turn that lead over to a reputable organization. And then if there is packing, I get first right of refusal. So if it's a $1,500 pack job, I get 100% of the packing on that. So I get my 1,500 plus I get my 770, which is 10% of the line haul. So to go and do a pack job for 4 or 5 hours, in reality, I'm getting almost 3 grand. Like to me, that's where it's at. So I'd be jumping down that program if I'm an independent company that doesn't want to haul outside a certain radius. And I tighten my relationship with those guys and get that program going because it is great. And there's no liability, no claims, no nothing to the independent moving company at all. That's the one flaw I do see in their program is you can go and pack a whole job. If there ends up being claims on packing, doesn't come back out of your company. That goes strictly through National Van Lines. But I would assume they're going to tweak that at some point because I can see people doing some haphazard pack jobs. But
Oh yeah.
once again, they track it as well, right? So if you're on 10 pack jobs and you got 7, 8 claims on those pack jobs, I'm sure they're going to do something at that point. But to me, it was a great way to have greater reach and still be able to take care of that customer. But ultimately, it was another line of revenue for you to have because it was a job you weren't going to service anyway.
Right. All
My
right,
brother.
Chad. So
My
it's been, whew, we are over the hour, but hopefully we've been dropping some gems and stuff like that. We definitely got to keep Phil coming back when he ain't busy because Phil be on these 120 moves a month. Um, so and Ryan, when you ain't on the road, I feel like the lonely guy here just at home. But I got a baby. I got a baby now.
That's
Hey
gonna
man,
keep
you
you
you got me
occupied.
till you got me December and almost all of January. I'm not going anywhere, thank God.
All
I got a
right.
couple trips in January, but they don't fall on Thursdays.
All right, y'all. So we'll definitely check in and we'll see y'all next week. Y'all keep killing it out there and just keep learning from everything that we've been dropping and keep implementing stuff. I just created a blog based on how to ensure that you get payment at the end of the job. So definitely go out there and read it. It's definitely informal and yeah, keep crushing it. All right,
I
y'all.
have a good one. Bye, guys.
Take care, guys.